Good evening and welcome to our graduation ceremony. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge our musical guests this evening, our very own highly talented 7th year students, Morgan SMARTT and Rose Lee Tadigan. Thank you both for your beautiful musical contributions this evening. And now I'd like to turn my attention to our graduating class of 2020. Sarah, Ben, Joe, Layla, Chloe, Anna, Bjorn, Johanna, Aaron, Garv, Juhi, Dalma, Arushi, and James. There's no doubt that the world is turned upside down by this global pandemic, and just when you might have thought your moment to shine had come, we're forced into doing things differently. When all you want in your last few months at the RMS Middle School is to spend time with your friends, instead, you have had to spend every moment at home with your family. And no matter how much you love them, we understand that your friends are way more fun to be around most of the time. But I promise you that the disappointment of missing your graduation will pass pretty quickly, and that once the immediate health concerns of the crisis pass, you'll have plenty of time to catch up with your friends, and RMS will be ready to welcome you back on campus to honor your rite of passage with you in person as soon as possible. The important thing to remember is that you've worked so hard and accomplished so much during your time at RMS. I have enjoyed the great privilege of watching each of you grow in so many ways. And while your academic achievements are impressive, there are so many skills that you have developed here that will carry you beyond high school and through life. This long list includes creativity, curiosity, compassion, grit, self-confidence, and critical thinking skills. This pandemic has shaken up the status quo and woken a lot of young people up to the fact that some of the old ways of doing things are just no longer relevant. You may realize now more than ever that society and democracy only thrive when we think about each other. But it's also pulled the curtain back on another secret, that the adults do not have all of the answers. This class of 2020 won't just navigate a new normal. I believe, in fact, that together you and your generation will build a better one. So while this is a time of loss, it's also a time to dream big together. And I believe that you can make a better future for all of us. I hope you're inspired by this challenge. I also believe that this experience will help you to face any challenges that come your way. So while you may not have a stage to walk across this evening, you are, in a sense, walking through history. This is one graduation that we will never forget. It's unique, just like each one of you. So I'm going to leave you with 3 pieces of wisdom that I hope you'll remember when you look back on this time. The first is that no matter what challenges you are faced with, remember that the sun is always shining above the clouds. The second is that I would hope that you can stay true to yourself. Remember that your actions and your thoughts are what make you special, so always do what you think is right. And remember that being brave doesn't necessarily mean doing something you don't feel comfortable doing. It actually means staying true to yourself, even when you might not be making the popular choice. And finally, I would ask you to consider building a community. No one does big things by themselves. Be alive to each other's struggles, and when you need help, ask for it. Each of you has shown your ability to be both a leader and a collaborator, and in doing so, you have built a community here. Never forget that you will always have a home at RMS. So whatever you do, keep making yourself proud. On behalf of all of your friends, family, teachers, and staff in our community, we salute the RMS class of 2020. I'll turn now to our commencement speaker this evening. Kate Moore, class of 2003, attended St. Catherine's High School and graduated with a Bachelor of Business Administration and Music Business from Belmont University. She's the owner of Get Fit 615, a group fitness and personal training studio in the heart of Nashville, Tennessee. Kate encourages her clients to honor their bodies and appreciate them just as they are. She believes that movement is vital to our well-being and that we should move our bodies in ways that we enjoy and with people whom we love. Kate's also co-facilitator of the Duality Project, which includes retreats for women as well as leadership retreats and social justice workshops and lectures. I was particularly drawn to Kate this year, given all that we are facing as a society, because of her commitment to wholehearted living. While she believes that our bodies are magnificent vessels for who we actually are, Kate also believes in the practice of self-work and continuing growth so that we are able to show up with more and more presence in this world. On behalf of everyone here this evening, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our friend, Kate Moore.
Hey y'all, welcome to my home and congratulations. My name is Kate Moore. My pronouns are she, her. I graduated from Richmond Montessori School in 2003. First of all, congratulations again. I know from personal experience the hard work that you and your families have put into you being here today. I really wish that I could be there with you in person for this special event because I fondly remember my graduation in 2003. It feels customary for folks who speak at any graduation to let the graduates know, and perhaps the fellow old folks in the room, know that I too, according to you, am old. I graduated from RMS in 2003, a few years after Vitamin C, a band that probably nobody in this room knows. They released a song called Graduation. It was a big deal. My 8th grade class and I sang the evening of our graduation. And actually there's a chance that it was my 7th grade class sang that song to the graduating 8th grade, but either way. The first few lyrics are, so we talked all night about the rest of our lives, where we're gonna be when we turn 25. I keep, Anyways, I suggest you look it up. And let me tell you, 25 was nothing like I thought it was going to be when I was singing those lyrics in the early 2000s. I was privileged enough to spend P1 through 8th grade at RMS. It's a space for me that will always feel like home because RMS created what I now recognize as a brave space. Mickey Scott B. Jones wrote a poem about brave spaces that I want to share with you. Together we will create brave space because there is no such thing as safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. This space will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. I hope that RMS has been a brave space for you too, because bravery is our call to action. Bravery is our call to togetherness. Bravery is what helps us have the challenging conversations with each other that will progress us forward together. Bravery is what happens when we have the audacity to speak out against injustices and hurt that we will inevitably see and experience. My transition into high school after leaving RMS was challenging. My transition into college after leaving high school was challenging too. And in fact, any transition has been challenging in its own way. But I've always felt ready for a challenge because I have a solid foundation of bravery from RMS. Bravery isn't just blind courage in a moment of fear. That's boldness. Be bold too. Bravery is asking for help when you need it. Bravery is offering your help to other people. Bravery is doing something that needs to be done even when and especially when there is no glamour or glory involved. Bravery is being open to shifting and growing. Bravery is admitting that you are wrong, apologizing, and changing your behavior when it's necessary. Bravery is telling someone that they've hurt you. Bravery is pulling up additional seats at the table when there's a new person in the room and inviting them into your conversation and community. Bravery is an action. I turned 30 a few months ago. People who are older than me say, "Oh, but you're still so young." And people who are younger than me say, "Oh, but you are so old." And in a world that is constantly comparing you to someone or something that you are not, it is an extremely brave act to be exactly who you are. Thank you to RMS and to some of my most impactful teachers who taught me how to be brave by being brave themselves. Dr. Martha Mabey, who showed me adventure and art. Miss Mary Hogan, who showed me vulnerability and excitement and excellence. Miss Meeta Gupta, who always made me laugh and also always put me in my place when I needed it. Miss Felicia Jefferson, who showed all of us warmth and care. Miss Jaleesa Robertson, who I never recall seeing without a smile on her face. Mo Bennett, whose art class I was taking when 9/11 happened. And Miss Centino, who was the first woman to show me and flat out tell the entire classroom that I do not have to wear makeup if I don't want to, and that has led me in for the rest of my life. Thank you, graduates and friends and family, for being the brave people that this world so desperately needs. Life will never short you on opportunities to be brave. Take them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. And now, as is our tradition, we will hear from each one of our graduates.
Good evening. This school has been my second home for 11 amazing years. I came into Miss Gupta's class as a nervous little 3-year-old, but in no less than a week, I became a full participant in the classroom. Miss Gupta taught us how to have empathy and to care for others, as well as how to be independent. I remember the practical life works where you had to pick up pebbles with a spoon and put them in a container, use a dropper to transfer water, and much more. Before I knew it, I had learned how to read, and in my P3 year, I read a book that was 400 pages long. Just like that, my primary years were over, and I was put in Miss Maria's class as a first grader. In Miss Maria's class, the students were way more mature. Everyone in the grades above me was so much taller than I was. I had trouble reaching the top shelf to get a pencil. The most intimidating part of lower elementary was the third graders. They were our role models, and they set an extremely well-behaved example, which, to be honest, at the time seemed like a challenge to live up to. But eventually, I got there. One of my favorite things about Miss Maria's class was our Winterfest traditions. We would make a bunch of animals out of paper from our country and stuff them with shredded newspaper and hang them all over the classroom. In third grade, we got to make a keynote about a topic related to space. I chose to do black holes. I distinctly remember on the presentation day, one of my classmates was so nervous, he introduced himself as me and even said my topic name. That quickly became one of my favorite memories here at RMS. The next year, I moved on to Miss Hogan's class for 4th grade. In Miss Hogan's class, we had a lot of changes. Our Spanish teacher wasn't Miss Nellie anymore, and we had a lot more responsibilities. One of my favorite things about Miss Hogan's class was the tradition to do USA for Winterfest every year. We gave out cookies to everyone, and it was a blast. Sadly, after 4th grade, Miss Hogan moved back to Ireland to be with her family. So in 5th grade, we had a new teacher. Miss Kaylin had stepped in as the lead teacher. And there wasn't much of a difference in how things were run in the classroom. At the end of 5th grade, we were all given packets to do for expert project over the summer. I was so excited when 6th grade rolled around. We chose our topics, and I decided to do the Bermuda Triangle. We worked extremely hard all year, and before we knew it, presentation day was upon us. I was nervous before the presentation, but I did great because of the practicing we did. I was so excited for 7th grade because I got to go on my first field study. I enjoyed all of the field studies, and they have definitely changed my perspective on the world. I will never forget when we were at the farm, and all the boys were sitting in rocking chairs acting like grandmothers. Sports have also been a huge part of my Montessori years. I started playing soccer in 4th grade and played basketball in 5th. I will never forget when we won the basketball championship this year and when we got 3rd place in the soccer tournament. Without sports at this school, my Montessori experience would not have been the same. It would take countless words to explain how much my time here at RMS means to me and how great of an impact it has made on my life. I will never forget all the memories I have made here, and I'm very excited to see what lies ahead. Thank you.
I've been a Montessori student since I was 3 years old. I used to attend Central Montessori School until I came to RMS in the 3rd grade. I remember being worried that because it was a new school, I would have to start all over again from P1. Fortunately, this didn't happen, and I was placed in Miss Russell's class and made friends with several other kids my age. I was so excited to finally be getting homework, as that was something my previous school didn't have. This excitement was short-lived. When I graduated the 3rd grade, I was placed in Miss Hogan's class with many of my 3rd grade friends. I'd heard that Miss Hogan was a very strict teacher, and she was, but I knew that it was because she cared for all of her students, and I'll never forget all the fun field trips she arranged for us. One particular field trip stands out the most. We went to Pocahontas Park, and as we were eating lunch, I look over and I see Miss Hogan grab someone's lunchbox and throw it at a squirrel that was sitting too close to our group. This was just one of the many times she proved that she would do whatever necessary to protect her students. When I graduated the 3rd grade, the 6th grade, I was faced with the thing that every RMS 6th grader dreads the most: expert project. It's a well-known fact that expert project does not work well with procrastination, but that didn't stop me. I had many late Wednesday nights struggling to finish all the homework that I put off until the very last minute. Fortunately, I had an amazing after-school teacher named Miss Shanti. She supported me and helped me and a couple other experts find a quiet place to work every afternoon. She would always give us wonderful advice and really good snacks to help us through the process. When I first came to RMS, I would look at the middle schoolers and feel like I would never get there. I always thought that it was so far away, but time flew right before my eyes, and I went on to have the 2 best years I've had so far. In 7th grade, I started middle school, and I was introduced to all the 8th graders, and I was finally in the same class to all my friends from Miss Linton's class. We were issued computers that we could bring home and didn't have to share with the rest of the class, and best of all, we had field studies. My favorite field study was the farm, where we helped muck out stables, cook meals for the rest of the class, and play manhunt after dinner every night. On the first night, my roommate Sophia and I noticed a strange blue light coming from one of the windows on my side of the cabin. As it had been a long day of traveling, and we were both exhausted, naturally we assumed it was aliens coming to abduct us. We had a restless night, only to wake up the next morning and learn that it was just a porch light from the cabin across from us. Overall, I'm sad to be leaving RMS and all the friendships I've made here, but I'm ready to move on to the next chapter of my life. Although high school will be hard, I believe that RMS has prepared me for everything that will throw my way. I would like to thank all of my teachers for helping me through these past few years and making the classroom feel like a second home. First, I would like to thank Ms. Shanti again for putting up with me and honor shenanigans every afternoon and keeping us productive while still throwing the best hub and carousel parties. Next, I would like to thank Ms. Simpson for keeping us updated on all the current events and giving us many fun humanities projects. Mr. Houston for being patient with me when I didn't understand the math, which was quite often. I thank Senora for being so understanding and always making me laugh, and Miss Parent for being with me through everything. I've known you ever since I can remember, and you know me better than I know myself. You've all helped me so much these past few years, and I wouldn't be where I am today without you.
I have been at RMS for the last 8 years, and those 8 years have been some of my best. First off, I would like to thank everybody at RMS for making a difference in my life. As Troy Bolton once said, we are all in this together. No one knew that this year was going to be cut short, but I could still never ask for a better one. It was full of great memories that I will hold forever. We have stuck together through basketball championships and ended up with both the girls and boys teams winning the championships. Not to mention, we were about to win the soccer tournament too. I remember our last game of Manhunt, which was so much fun. Even when we were busy working on MMUN, we still managed to join each other in different hotel rooms and talk. I can say that most of the time I was in a room for MMUN, it wasn't mine. I remember when we thought there was a psycho killer on the loose, trying to get us. Apparently he didn't exist, and murdering mosquitoes on every field study. I remember before soccer games we would get Panera, and after we would get Gelati Celesti, and the rap battles at Saturday practices. I remember when we were stuck in the dungeon because of a tornado till 7 p.m. All the raps I made with the same beat as Mr. Jones, Great Tangle of Night, Eye of the Tiger edition, Gerald on that motorcycle, the Latin Hortus ramp, and more. I don't know where I would be right now if it wasn't for RMS. We are all in this together, and we have been since we stepped foot into this school. Thank you.
It feels like just yesterday when my brother is standing up here on the stage graduating, and all of a sudden, it's me. I didn't think I would ever get here, and I can't believe the time has come. I will admit, this is not the graduation I was hoping for, but as the saying goes, something is better than nothing. When I sat down to write this 2-minute speech, I was lost for words to describe my time at RMS. But the first thing that came to mind was all of the wonderful memories, good and bad, I've made over these precious years. One memory I will hold on to forever was when the girls, and boys of course, won our basketball championship games. The feeling when the buzzer went off after a long, hard-fought game was the best feeling in the world. I'm sure we'll never forget that time when we were all stuck in the dungeon with the tornado stirring outside, singing our heads off with no care in the world, even though every time we thought we were going to get to leave, we'd have to stay one more long hour. Field days are one of my favorite parts of RMS because it's a great bonding opportunity and a way to experience the world outside our small community. Playing manhunt for hours on end never got old, and we'll always remember our elite squad of mosquito murderers that wouldn't give up even if every time we opened the door about 100 more would fly in. All of these wonderful memories beside, the thing I will treasure the most are the friendships I have made here that will last a lifetime. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for my peers and teachers helping me along the way through all the tough times. I would like to thank all the teachers for turning me into the person I am today, especially Senor for being the best advisor ever. I'm sad I must go, but at the same time, I am ready for the adventures that lie ahead for me. I will leave you with one of my favorite quotes. Sometimes you never know the real value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Thank you.
If you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. My RMS journey started as a P1 student in Miss Gupta's class. I was a shy, sensitive little 4-year-old who could barely speak a word in English. It's hard to believe how fast the time has flown since then. I have found that when someone asks me to describe my experiences at RMS, I can't. The thing is, you can't explain what Montessori gives to a person unless you experience it yourself. There are truly no words to describe it. In 4th grade, I was placed into Miss Hogan's one-of-a-kind class, much like her personality. Sure, she was strict, but we were her life. She always put us, and USA of course, first. I'm so grateful I had her in my life. Something I won't ever forget about her is how she always said, "I'm going to swim back to Ireland," whenever we drove her nuts. My favorite memories in her class were eating Luigi's Italian ice while she read The Hobbit out loud to us, the book quizzes, and when she killed a black widow with 2 hockey sticks. Of course, how could I forget the day I came to school wearing 2 different sizes of the same shoe? To make matters worse, they were both meant for the left foot. Miss Hogan quite enjoyed announcing that to the class. Middle school is known for the field studies. My favorite was definitely the farm field study. On that trip, it took my poor cabin mate, Juhi, about 10 alarms to wake me up in the morning. When that didn't work, she had to try to shake me awake. I will never forget our nights of manhunt around the cove, dunking in the trough, Sarah's attempts at butterfly, or Tootsie, a naughty little Shetland who listens to no one but herself. This trip definitely holds my fondest memories. The students aren't the only people I have memories with. The teachers are in on all of it too. They are there for all of us. I don't think the speech can begin to cover how thankful I am to have had you all in my life. Miss Barron, too, was such a big part in so many of our lives. I wish I had a chance to tell her thank you, and to tell her how much she meant to all of us. Throughout these 11 years that I have attended Montessori, I have made so many memories and learned a lot. However, one of the most important aspects that I took away from my time here is to find the people who matter most to you. The people who know you better than you know yourself. The people who will be there for you through every single one of your mistakes, who stand by you and never give up on you. Montessori taught me what a real friend is. I wish I had more than just a speech to reflect on these 11 years. However, all good things must come to an end. And with that, Kasala out. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ben McLaughlin, and what a fitting end to my time here at Montessori, the apocalypse. The last day we were all at school together, I bet Garb Chawla 50 cents that we'd be back in school by Monday, and everything would go back to normal. Now, 2 months later, and giving the speech from home, I'm remembering this with a melancholy smile on my face. I never imagined that meaningless Thursday would be the last day of school for me and my fellow 8th graders, and the last time we'd be together as a class. Although I've only been at RMS for 2 years, I feel like I've been part of this community for much longer. One of my favorite memories happened early in my time at RMS. A tornado came, so we all got locked in the dungeon to shelter. It was crazy. 30 kids, 4 teachers, all cramped in the tiny dungeon. We wrote messages on the walls, listened to Senora's amazing Christian rock, and I even joined a rap group. That was the first time I really felt like I got to know people, and that was when I realized that these people would be my friends for a long time. The first time I walked into RMS, all I remember was that I was really nervous. But one thing that stuck out to me, and still does to this day, is how friendly and inviting everybody was. I joke with my friends that it felt like a cult at first, but I'm so grateful for people being so inviting and kind towards a new kid. I don't think you can write a speech about middle school without mentioning the field studies, because they were some of my favorite memories. Committee sessions in New York with Florida Boy, playing Manhunt at the farm, Gaga Ball in the night at Silver Beach, and Senora screaming, and I quote, "What the heck is this crap?" after reading my trip journal in New York. I'm so grateful for the many opportunities to bond with the community and learn about the world. One thing I want to do is thank the amazing coaches at our school. Coach Neal, for taking me out of my comfort zone and inspiring me to lead, even with my baby giraffe legs, as he calls them. And Coach Baldini, for making soccer so much fun this year, allowing me to coach with him over the summer, and always giving me lots of popsicles. The last thing I want to do is thank the teachers. Miss Simpson, for appreciating my writing and inspiring me to write. Mr. Houston, for showing me how to work through difficult problems. Miss Parham, for providing lots of help and support when I didn't know what I was doing. And Senora, for always being supportive and being very entertaining. I'm walking out of Montessori proud of who I am, and it's thanks to you. Thank you.
It's hard to believe that this year I'm graduating from RMS. Even though the circumstances that all of us are graduating in aren't the ones we may have hoped for, it still is special. I joined RMS as a P2 in November of 2010. Though I do not remember much from my primary years, I met some friends who are graduating with me. In Lower L, I moved into Miss Amy's class, and I was lucky to have her for those 3 years. In 4th grade, I moved to Miss Hogan's class, and even though I only had her for 1 year, she was and still is quite memorable. She was strict about work getting done, but we had many interesting projects like ink blowing. We also had 3 books together that year, and after we had finished that book, we would have a quiz. Another special thing was that we had gelato after finishing something big. Unfortunately, Miss Hogan had to leave the school due to cancer, and along with that came the last 2 years of Upper L. 5th grade was a bit of a wacky year. We had one lead teacher for the first half of the year, and another one for the second half. 6th grade wasn't as chaotic, but Miss Kaylin had a maternity leave and gave birth to Calvin. Middle school is definitely when I made some great memories, especially during the field studies. During my first field study, we had a war against the mosquitoes and a bit of trouble figuring out which faucet the hot water was. At the farm, it was interesting to learn what it's like to work at a farm and had quite a bit of fun playing with the animals there. At our third field study, we played a great amount of Manhunt. I think what we did at all 3 of those field studies is chicken fight, which probably is my most favorite memory from my time in middle school. I would usually pair up with Sarah, and we were almost unstoppable. The bus rides to and from MMUN were extremely fun and a bit chaotic. We tried to put our hands in the cup holders, or whatever they were, played many games, and talked a lot. Some other memories are the Scottish boy, the Falcon situation in El Nido, fiddle farting, and best of all, Uneamans. During middle school, I grew closer with the other 8th graders, and it's sad that for some of us it's our last year together. At the beginning of the year, we were talking about how some of us would need an entire tissue box to get them through the graduation, but unfortunately that's not happening. When I first joined RMS, I thought that the middle schoolers were like creatures from another planet. But now that I've been a part of our middle school, we aren't all that different. We are extremely chaotic, but we do know where to stop, most of the time. I've made many great friendships, and not just with the students. I'm going to miss Miss P's drawings and the strange theories of the 8th grade girls. High school is another phase in life, and I am excited to go, but I will miss all of you guys. To the 7th graders and teachers, good luck next year, and to the 8th graders, I hope you all do well in high school. Thank you.